Learned yesterday that I have a daughter with my ex. My fiancé and I are in shock. Posted about this a couple months back. I, 30M, had a toxic ex-girlfriend years ago that I broke up with and cut off all contact because that's how badly I wanted to get away from her. She turned out to be the old friend of my fiancé. They hadn't seen each other in years and lost contact way before I started seeing my ex. She never told me she was pregnant. Only after 6 years when she came back into our lives like some sick twisted chance of fate. She swore her daughter was mine. And I decided to have an honest sit down with my fiancé to tell her exactly what my ex, her old BFF, told me. She needed a few hours away to clear her head, and I get it. Was so tired she was gonna decide this was too much for her and decide that she can't do it. My fiancé, the amazing woman that she is, said we're in this together. We got in contact with a lawyer. My ex agreed to cooperate with going to court for a paternity test, and yesterday we got the results back. I'm the father. This little girl is my daughter and have just missed 6 years of her life. And with my toxic ex I tried so hard to get away from, of all people. She came at us with that, "I told you so," and I better be ready to step up and be in their lives. She didn't even say my daughter's life. She said, their lives. My ex seemed really satisfied with this. For some reason it makes me uncomfortable. Before this we had talked about what would happen if it turned out I was the father. One thing we discussed was if I'd be a dad or just a father from a distance paying the child support I owe until she's a legal adult. My fiancé didn't feel right with the second one, and TBH neither do I. Can't imagine not being involved in her life, and I would like to get to know her. It's the thought that I'd have to deal with my ex for the rest of my life though. Part of me doesn't feel like I can mentally handle that. Knowing how she was back then. What drove me to break up with her then make it difficult for her to contact me. Everything's hitting me all at once. I'm not sure what to do to process everything. On top of that, know how to make sure to be a good father to this little girl. She's innocent in all this and I don't want to hurt her. You can just meet your ex in a mutual location to trade off your daughter and keep the transactions between her brief. She only contacts you in regards to your daughter. You need way more advice than some place like this can give. Like lawyer advice. It is entirely possible for you to be in your daughter's life with the bare minimum connection to your ex. But there is going to be some if you choose to go that route. You will need legal advice to navigate that. Though, not randos on Reddit's advice. Get a lawyer. Get a custody agreement in place and set up child support. I'd suggest doing everything through the lawyers so she can't find a way to jerk you around. I better be ready to step up and be in their lives. She didn't even say my daughter's life. She said, their lives. Yeah, no. Child support is obviously something you're going to have to get on. And you can continue to work with your lawyer. Or get them to refer you to someone. On how you're going to manage visitation and custody. But you don't actually need to deal with her. Beyond what's absolutely necessary in coordinating those arrangements. And you can make it crystal clear that's how this is going to work anytime she tries to push the boundaries. A lawyer. A lawyer. A lawyer. Boundaries. 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 You are the co-parent. You are not this woman's partner, friend, confidant, boyfriend, lover, or shoulder to cry on. You are the other parent. You just coordinate parenting. In addition to all the practical advice here, might I recommend getting into therapy? It will help you deal with this situation internally. But it will also be able to give you good tools to deal with your ex. Get a lawyer involved. You only have to be involved with your child and the rest is not for you to deal with. Get a lawyer to draw up a custody arrangement and tell them your concerns about her behavior. This way you can stipulate everything down to having a parenting app for communication. I normally try and advocate for trying to handle custody and stuff outside the court, but that doesn't seem possible with her, so this is what you need to do. First, get a lawyer and see your options as far as joint custody and child support. Second, take it to court and get joint custody and pay whatever court-mandated support you have to pay, and pay it on time. If it's easier for you, get it taken directly out of your check. Third, put a stipulation that all contact between you two has to be through a co-parenting app. Text messages normally aren't admissible in family court. Fourth, be a great dad. None of us are perfect, but as long as we do our best, it's all that counts. Fifth, if she refuses to give you your daughter according to the agreement, make a note in a calendar, preferably in the co-parenting app, and take it back to court. If she does it twice, this is very important because she will do the same. Sixth, don't argue with her. She will use your daughter against you. Remember, she had an extra 6 years to bond with her, and never say anything bad about her to anybody, especially your daughter, except maybe your fiancé. She can and will use it against you. Seventh, make all custody exchanges in public with plenty of cameras, preferably a mall or police station, because the cameras have timestamps and they normally have a larger database to keep them stored for a while. You are currently at a disadvantage, and if she is as bad as you say, you need to be prepared for war. But just stay focused on what's important and ignore her bullshit if she tries to start it. There are co-parenting apps you can use to communicate with your ex. Mandate the use of one in your custody arrangement. This will reduce non-childcare related contact and keep a record of your interactions. I was in this same exact situation before, except I was the girlfriend. My situation was slightly more complicated, so I wasn't around through everything. But I was there for a lot of the beginning and middle phases. You are lucky to have such a supportive and understanding partner. It's great that you both have the "we're in this together" mindset and can help each other through this. You'll both need some extra love and support for a bit, I'm sure. My ex filed for custody as soon as the paternity test came back as a match. I see in another comment you said you were going to get a lawyer. That's a great first step, and they will help you navigate everything. Involving the courts will also help you with the concerns you have surrounding your BM and her being problematic. She can't use the child against you when the courts are involved. And if she tries to, it will end up badly for her. My ex's BM was difficult at first, saying he could see his kid, then not letting him unless he sent her money more than the support he was already paying, and a lot of other stuff, until he involved the courts. You, and possibly your fiancé too, will probably have to do parenting classes. But getting some sort of visitation custody shouldn't be difficult, since you weren't aware she existed and paternity wasn't established. Your daughter will probably have to see a psychologist also, since this is a huge change. I wish you all the best of luck. I'm sure you and your fiancé will be great parents. Edit. Formatting. And also, I don't speak to my ex anymore or anyone he knows. But last I heard, he did get some sort of custody. His kid also lives in a different state than he does. Lawyer up ASAP. The good news is that you can arrange it that all communicates between you and your ex have to go through the courts, lawyers, and you can still co-parent this way. I feel like you shouldn't owe any back child support. She knew you was the father. What if you didn't find out about your daughter until she was 16? Should you have to pay 16 years back child support when you was robbed of 16 years? 6 years was stolen from you. Why should you have to reimburse the mother for that? If she couldn't contact you, then child support could have found you. Mother has no excuse for not letting you know you have a child. My opinion is based on, I'm a father that raised my 3 kids when their mother ran off. And she owes $24,000 in child support. So I'm definitely for child support. That little girl needs you. My ex is like yours. It's brutal. Get a good lawyer and fight for as much custody as possible. You couldn't stand living with this person. How do you think a 6-year-old can manage? File first. First you want to be on the offensive. She thinks she's going to swoop in and get a payday without giving anything up. Wrong. You know what will instantly fill her with regret and fear? Filing for full custody. Do not argue with her. Do not put anything the least bit questionable in writing. Assume anything you write will be read out loud in a courtroom. But I would advise communicating via email only. For documentation. If she is as bad as you say, she will say a lot of nasty stuff. Speak like a lawyer. Wait 24 hours before responding to anything. And be prepared to let a lot of little transgressions slide. This will minimize the stress on you. I left because I needed to give my child a safe space where she can be herself. I don't want her walking on eggshells all the time. We have a warm household and a healthy marriage that we model for her. Some things you will want to lock in. No movement clause. Assuming she lives close by. School district. Visitation. Obviously. And maybe in your case a neutral transition place. Get a lawyer. My cousin's mom was horrible to my uncle. He immediately got a lawyer and barely had to speak with the mom. It works. He's happy and he has almost full custody of my cousin due to the way the mom acts. You've got this, I promise. Set boundaries. In writing. When I divorced, there were parenting plan forms that detailed almost everything from medical and education decision making to visitation. Everything was filed with the court, which really helped when my ex overstepped. As a new dad myself, one of the biggest things you can do is just be as present as possible and don't badmouth the mom to her. I think it's best to limit contact to whatever is needed for whatever custody situation you guys decide. I promise you being present is huge. Engaging in activities is huge. Remember, we exist to be their memories when they're older. Plenty of people have joint custody with exes they'd rather avoid. This is doable. And unless it's a birthday or graduation, it's not as if you'd ever have to spend time with your ex. There are apps that will help you coordinate co-parenting obligations and limit any non-parental interactions with the mother. You know how her mom is so BTGE safe space she will need and go to therapy while you're at it.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.